Now we get to dealing with the multiverse as a logical problem. Because like I said, not being an astronomer or a cosmologist, I wondered how could I deal with this issue? And I figured I could deal with it as a logical problem. And since this is really the heart of the lecture, the heart of the point I'm trying to make, dealing with the multiverse as a logical problem will probably take about a minute, by the way. But I couldn't say, hey, I got a 1-minute lecture, so I needed this preliminary stuff to get us here. So here's the issue. There's the proposition. There's the theory. You have infinite universes, right? That's what we're being told. So I grant that. There's infinite number of universes. Granted. Okay? Each one with its own parameters, right? Granted. I'm going to grant them that. Okay? Infinite number of universes, each one with its own parameters, we're granting it. Okay? Now let's imagine that this one universe out of the ensemble, according to this one's parameter, there's no multiverse. Okay? We've granted that all infinite possibilities are equally valid. We're granting them that, and we're saying, well, if they're infinite, then one of them has to be that, according to this one's parameters, the multiverse doesn't exist, and you're left with nothing but a universe. So there you go. Okay? So just review that one more time. The concept is there's an infinite number of universes where absolutely everything you could imagine or could not imagine is there, is valid. So I say, fine. In one of those, according to that one, the multiverse does not actually exist, and you're just left with one. So that's a logical disproof of the multiverse theory. Okay? But now, let me argue against myself, because whenever I make an argument, I like to think about, well, how would I argue against that? And so some people say, well, you know, an actual infinite set, it's impossible. Okay? It's impossible to prove, because if we wanted to propose that the multiverse is made up of infinite universes, there's no way to know that. Because you'd go like this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, you guessed it, 5, 6. Okay, where would you stop? You don't stop because it's infinity, right? You can't prove an infinite set for the very purpose that you could never count to infinity. So philosophically, there's no such thing as an infinite set. In which case, I think we get down to the point, to the bottom line, which is just how arbitrary this is. Because let's say, well, fine, okay, I can't actually assert that the multiverse is infinite, and therefore my logical disprove holds. Okay, so tell me, of what does the multiverse consist? Oh, well, only a certain limited number of universes that are like this. And when they start to describe what they mean by like this, they're just going to throw out whatever, their favorite parameters. For instance, well, certainly God doesn't exist in any of them, well, that's for sure. And so I say, well, but when we're considering a limited amount, my preference is that, yeah, God exists in at least one of them. I mean, it's completely arbitrary. George Ellis actually gives a lecture in which he does say, look, when we're dealing with the multiverse, we need to deal with actual universes, not potential universes. And when he describes what he means by actual, well, of course, it's a universe that is a lot like ours, because that's the only thing we could know as something that might actually be real. So in either case, if they grant you infinity, wonderful. You just are able to disprove it by pointing to that one universe according to which the multiverse doesn't exist. And that disproves it. And if they deny an infinite number, then you just point out, look, we're dealing with a completely arbitrary concept. You're saying that only your preference of universes exist, and I'll say that mine do, and we don't really get anywhere.